Before we get started tonight, ladies and gentlemen, on another episode of Fast Break here on IE Sports Radio, I want to introduce y'all to a couple of our sponsors. First, the Southern California Warriors semi-pro football team. The world of semi-pro sports is unlike any other sports organizations. Players play and host so many different outcomes, whether it's playing to get filmed, to try out for professional teams, big-time colleges, or just playing in same shape. No matter what, all semi-pro players have one thing in common, and that's playing for the love of the game. The SoCal Warriors have been on a quest to earn titles since 2017. Whether you're in Southern California or anywhere in the world, give semi-pro sports a chance if you love your sport. You may get that second chance you've been waiting for as an athlete. You can find them on social media at Twitter at SoCal Warriors, on Instagram, Southern California _Warriors, and on Facebook, Southern California Warriors. For 8 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. All the while, we've been continuing to be by the fans, for the fans, and with your help, we're ready to take the next step. When you go to our website, iesportsradio.com, you'll see our Patreon link with 5 different tiers. The first one is at just $5 a month. This donation gets you 32 shout-outs on all our shows. Or shout-outs on all 32 of our shows. Higher tiers include IE Sports Radio merchandise, access to our podcasting university, and even a chance to be featured on a segment on our flagship show, The Defining Moment. Thank you all for continuing to make IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that sports. And also thank everybody to tuning in for our 8th anniversary special. Here's to many more years down the road. Now on to the show. With the Boston Celtics outlasting the Milwaukee Bucks in Game 7 this afternoon, do they have enough in the tank against the next round going to go against Miami? Plus, for the Warriors, who do you think would be the better matchup for them? Phoenix or Dallas? We'll discuss that. And also, can the young Memphis Grizzlies stay on this path, or they kind of take a step back next season? We'll discuss that more here on Fast Break, live on IE Sports Radio. Your direct feed for that is all sports, and you're welcome to join us. And join us as you shout tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Lots to get into, lots to talk about tonight. A good amount of action in basketball happening this past week. Lots of the things discussed. Probably get to talk about the Sixers and that underwhelming Game 6 loss and all that stuff. Let's talk about all that stuff. D-Lock, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Very interesting week. And Celtics beating the Bucks was a shocker, definitely to me. But that was a great way, I guess, to end the week or start the new weekend for the week.
Let's talk about today's action. Boston, if you now hearing this, Boston bested Milwaukee 109-81 today. I think, it's just the shots were just hitting that second half, and Boston didn't let Milwaukee breathe to kind of make a comeback. D-Lock, when we look at this game 7. We know what Milwaukee is. We know we've seen them in this position before and make a comeback and kind of win the series. Are you surprised that they kind of got beat down in double digits like this, especially in the second half?
Not really. Kind of, but the thing that I said before is the fact that they didn't have Chris Middleton. I was expecting for Giannis to have one of them games, which he's gonna always have those. It's just the fact that they were missing clearly a shooter.
Yeah.
But it was close at first, and then they kind of just pulled away. Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, and Tatum were just entirely too much. Al Horford woke up. I don't even think Robert Williams even played, even though he was available. Even Pritchard was out there doing his thing. And also Grant Williams had the game of his life. So just like they were clearly, making the shots that they needed. Wesley Matthews wasn't there that much. Grayson Allen didn't do too much. Pat Connaughton, those guys really weren't efficient. So the game got out of hand that second half. And then from there, Giannis can only do so much.
Yeah. I think having Giannis is great. Having the fold is great. If you got him, you got a puncher's chance to win a championship every year. I think, that's well stated now. But like you mentioned, the role players, Matthews, Grayson Allen, George Hill, guys we were kind of, raving about in that Chicago series, really kind of came flat in this series. Yes, it's nice and great that Giannis, did what he did, 40 plus points in multiple games and all that. But if he ain't shooting the ball well, then you other guys got to step up, and that didn't happen, especially guard wise. I'm trying to calculate all the shots between Allen, Matthews, and Connaughton. 0 for 9 from all three of them for 3-point line. D-Lock. 0 for 9.
Who said
that can't slide. 4 for 33 altogether from 3-point land. But for your wing players to kind of go goose egg like that, you're not helping Giannis out. You're not helping spacing that floor out for him to really flourish to help you win the game. You're not. Brook Lopez behind, shoot 1 for 6, shouldn't be a stat. So for Milwaukee, yeah, they lost the game. It is what it is. But, yes, Middleton going out hurts, but as long as Giannis is healthy, D-Lock and whatnot, they always be good to go.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm pretty sure Milwaukee probably did want to repeat and stuff like that, but I did say this regroup, retool, see what you can do and whatnot with this team, and let's go from there.
Yeah, for me, I think that now you probably got to get more consistent from the shooters.
Yep.
We see what happened when Chris Middleton was out. It really showed that difference. Wesley Matthews was not really there that much, to be honest, on the offensive side. Great as good as Giannis is, this is entirely too much. His shooting is not going to be. He's not going to be a great shooter, so he can't get you that's going to be hard for him to get you high efficiency. Those perimeter shots. So, me, Drew Holiday played pretty decent, but a lot of the time, the other guys just didn't show up too much. Hell, they picked up Javon Carter. I don't even think we even seen him.
No, we didn't.
Yeah. So for me, it just was at this point of all of these guys, Grayson Allen, remember that was a big pickup they had. He really didn't do too much this season overall, in my opinion. I think he could have done more, but it just at this point, it kind of seemed like it was a waste. So, but they, drafting wise, we know what they're probably more likely to be looking for. Because what you need to really surround Giannis around like Shaq, or like a Joel Embiid, you need to put shooters around. And you need to have efficient shooters. Some defenders. Hell, we didn't even see Serge Ibaka. We really was pointless to see him. But yeah, they need to, like you said, retool some of that and add some more depth, get some shooters there and help them out.
I want to shout out to the chat real quick. Shout out to Terry Rodriguez in the chat. Thank you for joining us, sir. Hope you're doing good. Shout out to Cal Henderson. Thank you for tuning in with us tonight as well. I look at the real quick. I look at the Boston side of things. Big games for your role players. We talked about like Grayson Allen, Wesley Matthews, Pat Connaughton, but getting big games from Grant Williams and Peyton Pritchard was big for Boston. If those guys didn't make the shots they made, then we're maybe talking about a different ball game here. But credit to those two guys coming in, shooting the ball well to put this game on ice. 22 for 55 from 3-point line for Boston, 40% from out there. Peyton Pritchard, 4 for 6 from the field, or 3-point line, 14 points. Great job by him tonight, this afternoon. But shout out to Grant Williams. I texted you this, but I think last week. He does a little bit too much at times defensively. Like sometimes, like I know you're trying to guard Giannis. I know you're trying to contain him best you can, but sometimes you kind of trying to do too much. Kind of reel it back real quick. But that's what you want out of your players. Guys like that take down their assignment, play tough defense, and still give you scoring. Because if you got defensive assignment like on a Giannis, who else? Jason Tatum, Joel Embiid, Devin Booker, whoever, you might not worry about trying to score or whatnot. But for Grant Williams, especially like this afternoon, he still took his shots. He made his shots, especially for 3-point land. So kudos to him. Jason Tatum played very well, very efficient shooting for him. So overall for the Celtics, hey, shout out to y'all. Y'all played great. Now y'all got to play another tough team in Miami.
Yeah, and that's going to be a tough one. That's going to be a great matchup, actually. I think they got it set for, Tuesday at 8:30?
Let me double check that. I think so. I could be wrong.
I believe it might be on Tuesday. Give them a day or two off, and then Miami been waiting for a couple of days.
Yeah, it is Tuesday. Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. So at that point, yeah, you're looking at a hell of a series coming up, and for me, I definitely think that it's gonna be a good matchup, man. PJ Tucker is gonna be a valid piece, and I'm more likely thinking that he's gonna be stuck on Jason Tatum, but he's not gonna rotate because like I said, Boston is playing great right now. Remember what I said about my problem with them last year is that they don't know who their main guy is. So now it seems like Jason Tatum clearly has taken that role, and Jaylen Brown can get his game as well. But who the lead dog is. So for me, I think it's gonna be a hell of a series. Might go to 7.
Ooh, Taryn, Mr. Rodriguez saying in the chat, he's saying got Heat in 6.
Heat in 6. Ooh, could be. I mean, that's a tough one to pick, man. I mean, right now, you gotta look at the fact that they can make them every shot right now. They're doing everything. Boston is. So, but he do have that defense. I think this is going to be a low scoring defense too. I mean, low scoring series too. Honestly,
I can give me the Heat at 6 as well. I just think.
Really,
I just think the Milwaukee series kind of tired him out. I think at times with the Heat, when they're playing the Sixers, and we get to them in a second, when they're playing the Sixers at times, it's just like dead time. It's like you can tell Philly was there, but it's just not. They weren't like playing with such an urgency. You know what I'm saying? It's like they were just jacking up shots, Miami rebound, they just get down the court. It's like no real work in there. Except when B came back into the fold. Because those first 2 games were kind of brutal. You know, kind of brutal there. So, but I got the Heat in 6. I think got some dogs from Miami. I think their role players have contributed better than Boston's over the course of the season. So I just give me the Heat in 6.
where's can look good against Philly?
Yeah, Miami sure did look good against Philly. And let's discuss that series, especially that game 6. What was your thought process watching that game 6? James Harden only take 2 attempted shots. Granted, they lose only by 9. Then you got the questions about does he stay? Does he go? Do they extend him for big money? He's 31 years old. How committed is he really? Does he have other outside interests that keeping him from what he's supposed to be? Doc Rivers, I mean, they say he's be back, but who knows? Joel Embiid's injury history, that's something to keep an eye on. Where does Philly go from here, in your eyes?
Boy, hell, they better find a way to make it work with James Harden. We know the whole situation with them picking Tobias over Jimmy Butler. We've been hearing about it, especially after the series. So you had Jimmy Butler in Philly. You let that go. That didn't work for whatever reason. You also didn't have Ben Simmons. And remember last year we were hearing all this type of stuff about how this is the reason why they lost. Ben Simmons didn't play that good. He missed the leap. He didn't pick the layup, X, Y, and Z, and get him out of there and replace. They tried to build around him and it didn't work. So they're playing the blame game with everybody. And it seems like it's not working. So they continue to come back to the same spot even when they replace players or change players. So now they go get and trade Drummond, Seth Curry, Ben Simmons, and go get a James Harden. And when they get James Harden, you time with a Tobias and an Embiid, and the rest of the crew, Tyrese Maxey, who looked like the better guard between the two the whole series. Hell, even since the trade, they have the same results. Now, granted, Embiid was hurt. He got hurt, but he made a huge impact during the series. But what they traded, the James Harden they traded for, just wasn't there. He just wasn't there. It didn't look the same. So now, this whole cry about Ben Simmons is the problem, X, Y, and Z. But damn, who's the problem now? It's always somebody in Philly. So now you're gonna, you know, quit on the trade that you made and try to start over again and continue the process, as Embiid was saying. Nah, at this point, this needs to try to find a way to work between James Harden and Embiid. You made that big move for him. Daryl Morey has been in love with this dude. You know, wanted him to be, wanted him on the roster. Now he's there. Make this happen, man. You know what I'm saying? This definitely gotta happen. At this point, they gotta try to figure out something. But for me, I'm looking at it like, man, I've been hearing all that crap about Ben Simmons. Doc Rivers made the blame. Joel Embiid made the blame. But you still got Joel Embiid and you still got Doc Rivers there. What did I say earlier this year? This defense took a hell of a drop back when they traded for. Well, they took a hell of a drop back with Ben Simmons not on the court. So they basically had a James Harden who didn't shoot in the second half of that game 6, but he don't play no damn defense.
Yep.
So in my opinion, you somewhat downgraded because the same production you got for Ben Simmons on offense you got from James Harden, but you had a defender in Ben Simmons at that point. So at this point, it just, you know, it kind of was just, for me, I still think that Brooklyn more likely won that trade, and we'll see more about it next year with being in a fold. But do we know what James Harden is? This is not a surprise. We've seen him do it in multiple destinations. So now we'll see what happens moving forward. But at this point, for them to go ahead and, you know, now they're saying Doc Rivers' job is on the line. So it's a lot of stuff, man. It seems like Philly always got something going on here. Like everything is just up in the air. So hell, I think even Embiid threw a little bit of criticism to James Harden, talking about he's not the same player he was in Houston or what they traded for. So now he's throwing shade at him slightly. So and he needs to be more aggressive, I think he was saying. So like I said, I mean they have to figure it out. But they made the trade, so they better find a way.
To what Joel Embiid said about Harden. And shout out to Mike Patton, chat. How you doing tonight, sir? Joel Embiid gotta tread carefully in what he says about his teammates.
Yes.
Because him wait, I mean, I think he could have went about the Ben Simmons situation a little bit better. Sneak this and all that stuff. If you've been around the guy, know how he is, how sensitive he is, or whatever, or not the best to take criticism, then you gotta choose your words better. You only been around James Harden for a little bit, and you don't know how to do operates like that. And it's my thinking is like you can't be burning bridges like that. All right, you don't want to put yourself in a hole too much because think about it, D-Lock. Miami, they're gonna be around for a little bit. Boston, they're gonna be around for a little bit. Milwaukee, of course, they're gonna be around. Toronto, very sneaky good this year. Got a lot of young guys and very long athletic. They need a point guard, but they're a good team. So those teams right there. And then who knows if Atlanta will bounce back and have a strong year. But those teams right there got nice young guards, all that stuff. If you're Embiid, you don't want to put yourself in a hole like that. You don't want to put yourself in a predicament that you come down months down the road and say, well, I need somebody. Tyrese Maxey ain't enough. And Tyrese Maxey is a fine player, but he's not enough right now. So Embiid got to choose his words better. Yeah, James Harden's not you say the quiet part out loud. I get that. But maybe it was an all-season work and stuff like that. Maybe for And if he signs a new deal, maybe he can come back and be the old player, a player of old, in a sense. But for what this team was going to do in the offseason, Darren Moore got to think long and hard because James Harden is going to ask for the max money. He's going to get his money. And by the time that deal's up, he's going to be about 36, 37. You better hope it works if you're Daryl Morey. You better hope it works. So I say my piece about Philly. Doc Rivers going to be around next year. And then, and it's hopefully you hopefully hope Tyrese Maxey takes in the league next year. That's the big thing right there.
I think he do. I mean, he had a hell of a season this year. It seems like he is going to take that leap. But dude, James Harden have to do something. I mean, it seems like he's not interested, at least fully interested, and that seems like everywhere he's going. So at this point, we got to get this stuff figured out, man. I mean, you made that big ass trade. You did all that complaining last year about Ben Simmons, and now you got somebody else who's supposed to be a hell of a lot better. And okay, they're going to be better next year. They're going to have time together next year. But so is the Brooklyn Nets, and what they grew. So we still see Boston look like they're definitely rolling right now. Miami's going to be a hell of a lot better next year. So we'll see. But at this point, that James Harden looks like a player that you want to kind of avoid.
Before we talk about Golden State and Memphis real quick, this is a hypothetical, whatever. But since the Lakers are kind of desperate, I don't say desperate, but they kind of, this is just me, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just throwing this out here. Could you see they pull the trigger on a sign a trade for James Harden, for Russ, throwing Horton Tucker? And I would hate for them to give up that first round pick in 2027, but they may have to do that. Would you take a stab at James Harden like that? You in?
From the Lakers?
For the Lakers. Westbrook, Horton Tucker, sign a trade for Harden for a new deal, give up that first round pick. Your hope is Harden is out in LA. You gets a renewed lease on life. You're in LA, sun is shining, the traffic will keep you frustrated, but still, he's in somewhere, D-Lock, that he will love. I don't think New York is his scene. I don't think Philly is his scene. But LA, I mean, granted, the taxes might going to hit harder, but kind of like New York, but still, LA though. What you think about that?
Oh, him and LeBron on the court together.
Yeah, just have them in time as the main ball handlers.
Possibly could work. And my thing is, I think that's kind of like there kind of be a similar move between Russ and James Harden, because he's not the James Harden that we know, that we've seen in Houston. That was averaging a ridiculous amount of points. What shooting got a better efficiency as he, rather than what he's doing now. But for me, I think Another thing too is they're gonna have to give him that deal. They would have to give him that deal. I probably would pass on the Lakers. To be honest with you, I probably would have to move from that because it just do the Lakers want those type of problems? I don't think so. That can cause it's gonna be more pressure, I believe, in LA than Philly. If you ask me.
Then again, you don't want those problems, though. You don't want those problems if you're LA potentially. Because yeah, Al Harden may be in LA, maybe a little bit motivated, but still, a lot of distractions in LA. If you catch our drift, ladies and gentlemen.
My thing is, you just never know that the focus for James Harden is what we need to have. He just doesn't have it right now. It doesn't seem like it's going anywhere to be, especially to be around LeBron. Um, but you could, I mean, the way Jenny Butts talking all this other stuff, just never know. I just don't. It could be a better move, but I kind of see it as kind of very similar to having Russ. But Russ has his style of play is not as I mean his style of play is not very similar to James Harden, but you can see where it's like they're not playing how they were at OKC, or he's not playing like he was in Houston or Washington, both in Houston. So um, to be honest, I'm starting to put James Harden in one of them ranges where he's better off going to like an Orlando or going to like a Washington or something like that. Um, to get those the fan, like you know what I'm saying. He's like one of those kind of ball players because it just seems like when you put him, where championships are important, that's what they're talking about. He's not bought in like that. When the pressure is on, when there's high expectations, he's not there. So, um, so to send him to if he would for him to go to LA, that'd be like them keeping Russ at that point.
Side note before we get to going straight Memphis, I'm gonna say this about Jeannie Buss real quick. She ain't catching that fair amount of heat like her brother did. I'm throwing that out there. Wait, Jimmy Boy got raked over the coals, and deservedly so. I ain't trying to defend the man. He deserved his coal raking. But she ain't catching much heat as he did. And for her to having the Ramesses in her ear about doing personnel decisions. And I love Phil Jackson. I really do. Greatest coach of all time. If you're a Boston fan, suck it. I don't care. Better than Ray Auerbach. I don't care. I like Phil. I love Phil. But damn it, we seen Phil in this type of position before with the Knicks and really didn't go nowhere. It did not. This is why D-Lock, I always kind of get mad at Magic for leaving the way he did. But I think he kind of got things going the right direction, and then he's let the silly BS get to him. He's sitting to worry about other things instead of worry about the task at hand. Now with him out the way, you got these other, well, minus Phil, you got these other two chuckleheads trying to tell, Jenny what to do. Plus Rob Pelinka, but and it's not working. It's not working. You know, they're still interviewing coaches, so we'll wait to see who the coach is. You know, they got a decision to do with Russ. They don't
They
got
need to go ahead and move him at this point. But it seemed like they let Vogel go for the favor of Russ, which means they're trying to keep Russ. So, I mean, Jenny said some crazy stuff right now, man, in my opinion. I mean, I know it's the Lakers, and she's saying, oh, we control the team, the players got to be players. Phil Jackson saying some of the stuff that he's saying. I think I heard something to where the fact that Phil Jackson was saying trade LeBron. So, I don't know, man. That sounds kind of crazy to me.
and Phil always said crazy things though. You know? He always says, I don't say, he says things to get attention. That's especially when he got to LA. He always said things to get attention. Wherever he said something about Shaq, or he said something about Kobe, or you know, he said something about Dr. Buzz, you know, whatever. He always says something to stir up the flames. Me personally, I know his health probably couldn't do it. Me personally, he'd be the perfect coach for a LeBron James at this stage of his career. I know LeBron and Phil had that beef. And I know LeBron's like real sensitive when people call him out. Well, I was gonna say it as it is. LeBron, I like you and all, but when people talk about you, you kind of sensitive at times. I think Phil, the whole crony comment, all that stuff. That's what I alluded to, ladies and gentlemen. But I think Phil put BS aside. Him and LeBron, I think that can work along with a healthy Anthony Davis. I think they'll go a long way. But I think Phil's health ain't there, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, I mean, right now that's just they're gonna have to figure out what they got going on in LA. That's just a mess right now. A lot of stuff going on. Hell, they need to figure out who they about to hire.
And that's the main thing, and we'll discuss that wherever that day comes. But D-Lock, the transition to Memphis, Golden State. While I was watching that game 6, Memphis hung on. They played tough. They were hitting their shots. But one thing that kind of really stuck out at me, D-Lock, one player. I hate to put this whole thing on him, but that damn Dylan Brooks.
Dude, that dude right there, man. I can't. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you go ahead and say about him because I'm already hot about that.
That damn Dylan Brooks. He's a nice player. I'll give him that. Very nice player. But he ain't who he think he is. You know? You ain't who you think you are, man. The Grizzlies got two first round picks in this draft. This draft is pretty deep in my eyes. At least about 12 players deep. This in my eyes, ladies and gentlemen. This me. Some of y'all probably gonna say, oh, they're just about 4 or 3 guys. No, this me, this 12 guys, me. I'm talking. But anyways, in that fourth quarter, D-Lock, there was a turnover he had off his foot that Golden State took down and scored. And then on that next possession, ladies and gentlemen, this man takes the ball and proceeds This play hero ball and try to make a layup and misses it. And then Golden State, that's when things kind of really picked up for them, and that's all she wrote. But throughout the whole series, D-Lock, it was just bad shots by him. Really bad shots by him. He did not play very good at all. That damn Kyle Anderson can't shoot free throws to save his life. That slow ass form and release drove me nuts when I was sitting there watching those games. My goodness. Like, damn, you've been playing basketball for years and you kind of pick up the pace or you're releasing shit like that. Drives me nuts.
Yeah, man. The inconsistency is what was a big thing for Memphis. And like you said, it's like that dude, like he thinks he's more than that, or higher than that. So it's what year is he in his contract?
That's well, I don't know yet, but I brought the draft picks up for a reason. If Memphis don't use those two draft picks to move up to get somebody they like, wherever, cool. But I think they're on the rise. I think they got a nice, good young squad. Just hopefully John Morant, get past the leg injury issues and whatnot. I think they need somebody else. Who that would be, who would be a perfect complement, I don't know. Zach LaVine, he's a free agent.
That's a shocker.
I don't know if he comes back to Chicago. Maybe, maybe not. He's an option in my eyes. You package those two picks, maybe with Dylan Brooks, maybe with somebody else, get LaVine. Maybe. I don't know. Throw in one of them bigs, make it work. Who else I'm thinking about? CJ McCollum, I kind of think about I was watching that game, D-Lock. CJ McCollum would fit great with this Memphis team.
Yeah, definitely would.
I thought about it. I was like, damn, a CJ McCollum would fit like a glove with this team. But that's one person I looked at. Another one I thought about, and maybe you could poach one of them, and I think Atlanta probably be happy to take their salary off their hands. Maybe Herter or Bobanovich. Maybe go after one of those guys. Because
Yeah, I mean, right now it's just leaving John Morant to do all that work. Dylan Brooks is not showing the consistency. I really like Desmond Bain, to be honest with you.
oh yes.
He definitely showed up this year. I really like him. They need to figure out what the hell they're gonna do with Steven Adams.
Oh, you gotta keep him.
Yeah.
When he came back to that series, which I don't understand why he wasn't playing in the first place. I know he had COVID and stuff, but still, I'm like, why he's not playing? And then you see the kind of the difference he brought when he can't play back in, 4, 5, and 6. There was a difference in the team and whatnot. I know they had the big man from Michigan State, names escape me at the moment, but Steven Adams has brought like a toughness and a mindset for that Grizzlies team. So you gotta, me personally, I would bring him back into the fold. And looking at Dylan Brooks' contract, he signed a 3-year extension Let's see. Back in 2020 for 3 years, $35 million. So a contract that you can move, if we're being real.
Yeah, it's gonna be kind of interesting to see how that play out. They got a lot of bodies in that team too.
Oh yeah,
that's the thing. So I told you, for me, I just couldn't. What I told you earlier, I couldn't trust Memphis. I just didn't trust the young guys there. Warriors got the experience. Klay Thompson had a hell of a game. So he did his thing. They'll step the show when they need to. But I mean, it was a pretty good series.
Yeah.
Tyus Jones played himself into like a hell of a contract as well. But me, I think Memphis will come back next year much better. But they played. They were one of the more surprising teams all year long for me.
Yeah, I think we didn't expect them to be second seed Memphis Grizzlies, and I think them playing without Ja Morant for some time this season was a really, really good, really surprise for them. Because you think about D-Log, hey, if a star player is out for your team, things go sideways. And we've seen that, for the Lakers, Clippers, and whoever else. But for the Grizzlies, credit to them. They played through it. They played strong, and kind of gave them confidence. Even with Morant going now, that hey, they came back. Hey, that game 5, they beat the crap out of the Warriors. They playing whoop that trick. You got Draymond during the timeout just waving his towel, getting down and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a confidence booster thing that you carry over to the next season. And then next season, you depend on guys like, hey, Zaire Williams. Oh yeah, this 19 years old. Desmond Bain, his growth and whatnot. Santi Adama, Brandon Clark, who I like a lot. So I like a lot of these things. This Memphis team. Anthony Melton. So a lot of young guys on this squad that can grow. And I thought about this too. I want to see what you think about this. There's potential down the road, and especially in the West. Maybe not, but there's potential in the road that Memphis and Golden State can see each other again over the next few years. If you really think about it, D-Lock, Ja Morant, Jaren Jackson, Desmond Bain, in the fold. Then on the Golden State side, James Wiseman, Moses Moody, Jonathan Kuminga, Jordan Poole. All these guys are young. All these guys are under 25. A lot of potential there, D-Lock. If Steve Kerr let James Wiseman develop, let me get that out there too. But a lot of potential, D-Lock, that we could see these teams down the road competing and in playoff contention for years to come. What you think about that?
Yeah, I can see it. I mean, my thing is, Wiseman is going to be, he's going to develop to a really, really good player. You already know what Golden State possessed with the shooters. So you get those, and you get because the games that Memphis were winning and keeping the games close for them, they were killing Golden State off the glass.
Oh yes.
And it seemed like that's the way to beat them. Majority of the time, Jaren Jackson was going crazy against them. So he beat them against the glass. Steven Adams, like you said, keep him. He had an impact. But when Wiseman comes back, that's going to be that one issue that they have. So they could be a very well put together team, the shooters, and then now you got your center. So I think they're going to be here for a while. And then Memphis is already pretty young. They're going to be there for a little bit. So I think that, knowing that these teams are going to run into each other again at some point, it's just, do the Clippers play a lot better this next couple of years with Kawhi coming back and the group that they already have? What the hell does Minnesota do? Yeah. Or was this just one of them seasons where they, just was kind of on? So now it's just, trying to figure out how things map out. Dallas, who kicking Phoenix ass right now, are they going to be a lot better next year moving forward? So, and then also Phoenix. Chris Paul is getting a little older, or he is older, but Chris Paul is older. But the fact is, him with that group, the Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, like they're going to be a team to reckon with as well. So, it's going to be pretty interesting to see how it play out. But I do see the Warriors pretty good for a while, and then Memphis. My thing is, at some point, now that Memphis is here, do they run into the same issue that Atlanta had this year?
That's
Remember,
a good
Atlanta
question.
was just doing their thing the year before, and now, with the eyes on Trae Young being Ice Trae, all these other guys, teams start to catch on to actually plan to play them. So it'll be kind of interesting, man.
And I'm glad you brought up Dallas because, like you mentioned, Luka Doncic and Spencer Dinwiddie are giving them the business right now. And my thing with Dallas, I think that's something Jason Kidd really has to figure out to do with Luka. It's like you play pickup ball, and a dude's good, and he can score at will. But with Luka, it's like kind of like dudes that play pickup ball that real good. He only pass to you or whatever when it's at convenience, if that makes sense. It's just like, okay, you're open. I can't get by this guy. I can't fade away from him, whatever. I'll just kick it out to you. I think Jason Kidd got to figure out to get some more ball movement out of him down the line. They got the players to do it. Granted, get some toughness inside, but they got to figure out that ball movement. Like I said, they just kicking Phoenix's ass right now. But before we go, D-Lock, with Dallas up 48-25 against Phoenix, do they close out on Game 7 tonight?
About Dallas?
Yes, with them up by double digits, do they close out in Phoenix tonight?
Oh yeah, this shit getting ugly. It's over with, man. Chris Paul can just pull something, and then Luke and them just all of a sudden, because Dallas can put up 100 at any time, so they could put the points up, and it just seems like right now that Phoenix is off. Now they're gonna click at some point, but they're gonna have to go on a couple major runs and slow this down. But being down by 23 right now, or 21, I think that they're gonna need Dinwiddie was a hell of a trade for them. Even though they got a bunch of guys, bunch of guards, they have somebody that can now, not necessarily have to have the ball in Luka's hands. So it just with DeAndre Ayton in foul trouble right now. You already know, Luka's gonna get to the line in the third quarter, so I think that's gonna hurt using Ayton later on. I think this might be over.
I'm with you. I think Dallas just close it out. Chris Paul, and I text you to this. Chris Paul hadn't really been the same after game 2. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's going on. He just hasn't been playing his best games since game 2. And then on top of that, the incident with his mama on Mother's Day. You know, ready to whoop up on the, I don't know if it's a teenager or whatever, but that didn't really help things for his psyche. And I figured, he'll use that as motivation in the next game to kind of really get back on self and track. But that didn't happen. That hasn't happened. His stats been dreadful and pitiful. And right now, he got 2 fouls, 2 assists, and 1 damn point. And you're about to go down down 30 points. It's just nothing really clicking for the Suns right now. Now they're down by 30.
And then they're at home.
And they're at home. So unless they can turn up the defensive pressure, get in Lucas' head to get him off his game, because he can get easily distracted like that, and get some things going that way, and kind of get Aiton going. You can rock the Bob, baby. Hey, Phoenix is done.
What they say. Yep, you kiss the baby on this one, man. This one, I mean, I know it's halftime. It might see some grades happen, but this one getting ugly. Already is, in fact.
But this has been our show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in with us on a very heavy playoff edition of the show. D-Lock, how can the people find you on social media?
You can find me at Black-813. Black on the word -813. They don't know they can find you at and where they can follow our Twitter page.
Follow the Twitter page at Fastbreak at IESR. That is Fastbreak IESR. Also, I do have a page at Spawn4288. That is Spawn4288. Also, do check out IESportsRadio.com for the latest news for not just our show, for other shows in the network. Also, I want to shout out to our Patreon supporters this month. Bay Area Rays, Marcus, Los, Great, Key to the Gate, and Anonymous. Thank y'all for supporting us on Patreon, and please continue to do so. Like I said, 8 years of IE Sports Radio is in the books. Hopefully we got 8 more years down the road for y'all. And we'll talk to y'all next week. Draft lottery coming up this week. So we'll discuss that and more playoff action. Until then, we out.